Hello, ladies and gentlemen. How you doing? Hope you having a good one here. Just been a crazy day today. Was out in the rain. I was trying to see if I get a drill for my car door, and it got caught up in the rain. So man, luckily I made it home back in time. I hope you having a good one. It's kind of rain here in Ohio. Um, yeah, I'm going to show you this video about what this man said in his video. Damn. Let me close this light kind of. Let me see. Kind of like that. Okay.
And a professional OBD scanner all in one, and it's driving the car in.
Shout to redirecting.
So hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I have a truth bomb that I am going to be sharing with you in this broadcast. Wherever we can get the truth, I like to share it, right? Because the truth will always be whether people like it or not. And so it seems like a lot of people are getting tired of the okey doke that we are seeing on full display. I hope everyone's having a lovely afternoon, okay? We are on the eve of Shabbat, so I want to get into this.
Canes steals my game.
Oh my
The
goodness.
Buckeyes and their fans are some of the most dedicated in football. It's a quality we share, and that fuels.
We are on the eve of Shabbat, so all that. Like I said, the truth is very refreshing, y'all. Very, very refreshing. Before getting into this, I will ask that you all will go ahead and share the broadcast so that others can tap in on this topic with us. If you are new to the channel and you enjoy the truth, I double dare you to subscribe and be sure to hit that notification bell. That way you can be notified each and every time we upload or go live. So we're going to go ahead and get into this. Remember to smash that like button. That's one of those things that folks say too. Smash that like button so that can get us up in the algorithms too. A lot of things are being shared, but I think the truth is a lot more refreshing than a lot of these things that we see being shared on the internet. And so, that being said, I want to go ahead and get into this, just whatever this guy is saying, which is, I call it a truth B-O-M-B. Because we've been saying a lot of these things for as long as I can remember, but we all know that people don't like to hear us say it, do they? They don't like to hear us say it. So here's another receipt for you, everyone. Take a listen at what this man has to say, and of course, you know I will be right back.
I don't want to see one more white creator clutch their pearls or tell me how they're horrified or how they want to leave the country and how you're having a mental breakdown and how it's too much to handle about what's happening in this country. I don't want to hear a goddamn thing about it. I truly don't. You got a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of an inch what it's like to be black in this country. Feels pretty shitty, doesn't it? Yeah, it does. Do you know why we're here? It's because our demographic, primarily white men who this land was designed to benefit, didn't stand up with people of color, with our black brothers and sisters, with the Native Americans, with minorities, because it didn't affect them. That's why we're here. There is the class war, eat the rich, yes. This is about the original sin of this country. Make America white again, because that's what they want. Last night I was on a live, and this lady was just heartbroken. She's like, I don't know, like we had, 75 years of progress, and it's all being taken away. And I asked a question, and I think it's the right question. Was it progress, or was it just suppressed? I would argue the latter, because it sure feels like this racism is like a reservoir, and it's a body of
years of progress. He said, was it really progress or just suppressed? See, they believe that because black people can move about a little bit, we can go to the lunch counter and get served sometimes, right? Or because we can travel or do this or do that, that it was progress, okay? But he said, was it really progress or just suppressed? Because he knows the conversations that the neighbors have, right? He knows what goes on when they are behind closed doors and there's no one there listening but them, right? Just like Rand64 said, it's good to see other white people call out their own when they are wrong, right? That's good to see. Now, on our side, we have always called out our wrong, haven't we? When our people are cutting up in the hood, ain't nobody endorsing that. Now, of course, you have those who want to have that code of silence, but there are those of us who say, well, no, we're not going to support that. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you are a so-called black person, right? But there are some in every group who are going to speak up and say what needs to be said, period, point blank, right? So anyway, let's finish listening to what he has to say.
Water behind a dam, and it's been dying to push out. And that's what this Klan leader is in the White House. He is that outlet for the dam. He unleashed it. It was there. Our neighbors, our friends, our family, they were always racist. He just said, hey, little Billy, hey, it's okay. Don't hide anymore. Take off your white hoods. Don't hide your face. Do it in public. Who were they going after? The racially profiling people. DEI, CRT, equality, Charlie Kirk, the white supremacist. Hey, if the pilot's black, do I know that they're qualified? Has he ever said that about a white pilot? Of course not. Who did they pick? The most unqualified, bumbling idiot. A convicted felon, caused an insurrection, cheats on his wife, sexual abuse. But hey, you know what? He's white. So when you see a lot of these evangelicals, because I see a lot of them in my family, middle-aged white, praise Jesus, praise Jesus. Yeah, you think Jesus wants a man like this? You think he's a great reflection? No. I'm going to tell you why they support him. Because they view, when you hear the phrase nuclear family or traditional family values or Christian nation, when was this a Christian nation again? I'm sorry, because I haven't heard one thing. It was founded by founding fathers that owned slaves. They owned goddamn black people like cattle. Yeah, praise Jesus, right? Black people were worth 3/5 of a person. Praise Jesus. Only 21-year-old white men had rights in this country. Praise Jesus. Such a Christian nation. Every atrocity in this country and across the world has been done by a person with religion who has weaponized religion to push the white supremacy. That's it. Look at the Catholic Church. How many young men have been affected? And none of you Catholics stood up. You still go to church and give your tithes while they pay out billions of dollars in civil lawsuits because it didn't affect you, so you don't give a damn. Look at the Baptist Church. Decades they covered up the mistreatment of women. It's gross. And you still went to church and praise Jesus. Look at all the pastors right now that are being arrested for doing inappropriate things with people underage. Praise Jesus, right? But then you hear Bishop Uday. Kindness, compassion, empathy. Nope, we don't want that. That's right, because you want to make America white again. You want Leave It to Beaver. You want a white kid in a white ice cream shop sitting next to a white cop being served by a white ice cream server. That's what you want. And for all of you middle-aged white people, you are scared to hell that that's going away. And when you hear Fox News, they have posted 244 pieces about trans people since February. Nothing about gun violence, nothing about universal health care, nothing about giving people a living wage, actual policies that would make people's lives better. Because it questions their version of the traditional family. And when you hear that, let me be very clear what traditional family values means. It means white America. That's what it means. They want to put the Ten Commandments in Texas. They want to put Bibles in Tennessee. I'm a person of faith, and I have no right, zero, to push my religion or my faith on you. That's what free will is. See, and those white Christian nationalists, those white supremacists, they don't want free will. They want to push their religious ideology on you. Because they actually believe this is a Christian nation. Because they don't want to take 2 seconds to realize that we are a third world country. That we've never been a great nation for everybody. And that's done through indoctrination, right? You're born in American flag diapers, and you wake up every morning and you eat your Freedom Wheaties, and you do the Pledge of Allegiance. Best country in the whole universe ever by not even a close measure. Then you feed your pet bald eagle, and you go to work, and you polish the Constitution, and you have 800 trillion American flags. America! America! Yeehaw! America first! But see, you don't give a damn about the people that the flag represents. You just care that your version of what America was lied to you, the Truman Show. Because that's what this is. You were told it was great, and it's not. Right now, the way that we're acting, we're a shithole country. And a lot of people that are white don't want to hear that. Why don't you go ask black people if they think it was great? Why don't you go ask the Native Americans if it was great for them? Because this was their land. Why don't you go ask the Hawaiians when it was great for them? Because we stole their land. We took the land from Mexico. Hell, we took black people from Africa because us white people were too goddamn lazy to do the jobs ourselves. And for all of you people demonizing immigrants, I don't see your lazy asses out in the field doing the jobs. Why is that? Because you just didn't want non-white people here. But Paul, I want them here legally. Great, let's talk about that. These people have been here for 30, 40 years. The system is screwed up, yes. But you know what? They're not criminals. They pay their bills. They pay their taxes. They have a house. They own businesses. But you voted for a white man who's a convicted felon, who caused an insurrection, who makes fun of disabled people, who's so pitiful that he cheats on his wives, all 3 of them. 25 women. He's assaulted.
Woo! This dude is going off, boy. I tell you, he's hitting it with truth. I mean, he hit areas of truth that people, they get mad when they hear something like that. But hey, you know, when someone of a different persuasion bring it up, it's warfare. It's taking on another person. But when it's someone like another person, as they would say online, clear, calm, palm-colored person say something and really speaking truth, the facts, the truth, it is, you know, then the temper kind of go down. It's not a us versus them no more. So really, he's just, hey, I'm letting them air it out. And, you know, hey, a lot of what he's saying is true. I mean, everything he said was true. Everything he said was true. And it's just like, man, you know, hey, people are just frustrated because they know the truth. They really do. It's just that it's sad to get like that, but people get so denied. And it's just like he said, if it don't fit in their category, then it must not be, you know. It's just like, you know, when is the world centered around you? And I think a lot of people are just sick of it, to be personally honest with you. And then when it comes to other people, it's like, you know, jealousy, things going on. It's like with this, you know, situation we have with after this memorial for Charlie Kirk. You got white people that want, from what I heard on one broadcaster, that wants to harass black people who had nothing to do with the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And see, that goes to show you, no one said nothing. Nobody, you know, they made a comment, anything too highly of the man, and all of a sudden HBCUs go on lockdown. And it wasn't a black person that did it. But this is historically, it repeats itself. Every time when something happened, something like that, and historically, like if something happened to a white guy that beat up his wife or girlfriend, and then he passed it on to the you know, like what happened? Or some 2 men got drunk and put their hands on a woman, and they blame it on the black person, and the innocent black person to go down and have to pay a price and don't know what the heck is going on. So, you know, and he loses his life because based on a lie. And this is historical, this is fact. And it's another thing I heard a man say, I don't want this being talked about, this history. History's already made itself. And one day, whatever they cover up is going to be dug up. You know, I say this, God always had a Josephus in the land because there were people going to cover up their mess. So he had always had a Josephus in the land. But I'm gonna here's another story of what's going to happen. Well, don't. This what is about to happen. What happened recently.
Discover a journey where no two moments are like the next, where every detail is intentionally crafted.
I think they do this on purpose.
The Ritz-Carlton Yacht Collection, unlike the rest.
Starting the day I take the oath of office, I will rapidly drive prices down and we will make America affordable again.
In the campaign, the big promise by Donald Trump was that he was going to bring down prices and make America affordable again. And everything he's done is the opposite of that. So, you know, if you were asking, imported goods are going up in price, and we're going to see a lot more than that of that. But, you know, vegetables are going up in price, and a little bit of that is tariffs, but a lot of that is farm workers are making themselves scarce because they're afraid that ICE will pick them up. If we're worried about housing costs, a lot of the construction industry is immigrant workers, and particularly the actual physical jobs, the guys actually up there on the roof, tend to be immigrants, many of them undocumented, and even the ones who are legal are afraid.
Ultimately, I think what really matters is the standard of living.
Yeah.
For Americans across the board. What are we doing to the standard of living? Are we improving it, or are we actually turning it down?
Oh no, this is clearly all negative for the standard of living. You're making, you know, when you put a tariff on, one way of putting it, the sort of standard economist, Econ 101 thing is, you're taking things that we do relatively badly and other countries do relatively well, and we're insisting that those things be done here, which raises costs, reduces our standard of living. If we look at the immigration policies, the really important thing about immigration in America is that the immigrants do not do the same jobs that native-born Americans do. They're very concentrated in a limited number of industries and occupations, which are very much complementary to the jobs that native-born Americans do. And by driving out the immigrants, we are reducing the productivity, reducing ultimately the living standard of the native-born workers.
Trump tariffs are a part of the story that Krugman knows well. His Nobel Prize was awarded in 2008 for work on trade patterns, but he says the tariffs themselves might not be the biggest problem.
Consistent tariffs are bad, but not as bad as legend has it, right? You know, everybody's said Smoot-Hawley caused the Great Depression. That's not remotely true. And if you run even Trump's tariffs as they stand at the moment through a sort of standard model, that they will reduce GDP by something like 0.5 percentage point in the long run. It's serious, it's bad, it does terrible things to U.S. credibility because we're breaking all of our agreements, but it's not a huge thing. What we've never had before is tariffs where nobody knows what the tariff rates will be next month, let alone, you know, a year, 2 years from now. It's this complete, utter chaos. It's sort of the whims of the president, and then the question of whether the courts even allow him to do what he's doing, which wreaks havoc with business. Any investment that business makes right now has a good chance of turning out to be a really bad investment because the tariff rate isn't what you thought it would be.
What about margins for corporations? Because typically you might see it show up there. It's suggested that part of the reason we're not seeing tariffs is some of it's being absorbed by exporters, some by importers, and some by consumers.
The exporters are not absorbing very much. We have independent data on prices actually charged by foreign countries for their exports to the United States, and those have not gone down. So it does not look as if foreigners are absorbing a significant amount. It does look like U.S. businesses have so far absorbed a significant amount. Partly that's because they rushed inventory in, they rushed imports in to front run the tariffs. Partly because they not sure if the tariffs are here to stay. They don't want to raise prices and alienate consumers until they have no choice. But no, it looks quite significant. And it's really important also to understand that, this is not William McKinley's world economy. This is not what Trump thinks it is. This is not a world in which you export manufactured goods and you export foreign goods and that's it. This is a world of supply chains, complicated structures, and very many of the tariffs are actually being levied on inputs into U.S. manufacturing. So this is doing a lot to actually raise costs of U.S. businesses as well. So there isn't a lot of slack in the end. I'm enough of a, I may be kind of center-left, but I don't believe that businesses are making massive profits that can just be legislated away. So in the end, businesses won't be able to absorb them, and it's consumers.
What about the stated goals of President Trump, whether he's achieving them or not? One of them is actually protect or bring back manufacturing jobs onshore of the United States. Is that a sensible goal? And by the way, how is it affecting the auto industry? Because the auto industry supposedly is one of the beneficiaries of all this.
Yeah, the auto industry actually is sort of case in point for, this is not actually working. And it's for the auto industry, a lot of it has to do with the fact that there isn't a U.S. auto industry. There's a North American auto industry. It's very integrated.
1 in 10 babies in the U.S. are born prematurely.
And what he's saying is very true, because I'm about to show you this. Shout out to this man's channel.
So I want to give you an update on the Hyundai situation and also share the Korean point of view from here in Korea. And let's jump right in. So this is actually Korean local news, and they keep showing us these images. Obviously, it is important to Koreans, why did Americans chain and shackle Koreans? That's essentially been the question. What's being reported today, coming out of Georgia, I guess the local Georgia news is saying that Brian Kemp, which is the governor of Georgia, he's going to be leading a U.S. delegation here to Korea to try to beg the Korean workers to come back. Now, how's that going to go? We'll see. I'll just say this about Brian Kemp. There he was taking a selfie with the Hyundai CEO. Is that effectively he's a politician, right? So he'll say whatever he needs to say to stay in office. What's interesting about Kemp is that he's a Republican. He would often trash talk, any sort of incentives for electric vehicles. But then when Biden, gets the plant to come to Georgia, then Kemp will step in, take photos, and try to take credit for everything. I mean, that's essentially, like I said, he's basically a politician. Hey, I'm here for my photo op, right? I mean, that's who this guy is. And a lot of people have been criticizing Kemp because why haven't you said anything as the governor of Georgia while this whole ICE stuff is going on? Now, the Atlanta Constitution, this is the local newspaper, it says emails in both English and Korean sent 4 days after the September 4th raid reference Governor Brian Kemp's request to meet with Hyundai executives. So he waited a couple days for this. The messages note that automaker is, quote, an important investor and partner of our state. Specific details, including dates of the meeting, were redacted for security purposes. I'll just say this, when Kemp comes, if word gets out of where he's going to be meeting and when, etc., I would expect massive protests because obviously these people aren't going to be popular here in Korea because every day they show that Americans are chaining up and shackling your fellow Koreans. So they haven't shown this yet in Korea, but many Americans have seen it already because this is from a couple years ago. This is Brian Kemp's old campaign ad from 2018. You got to see it.
I'm Brian Kemp. I'm so conservative. I blow up government spending. I own guns that no one's taking away. My chainsaw's ready to rip up some regulation. I got a big truck, just in case I need to round up criminal illegals and take them home myself. Yep, I just said that. I'm Brian Kemp. If you want a politically incorrect conservative, that's me.
So that's Brian Kemp. If you want a politically incorrect conservative, that's him. So this is the guy representing the United States, trying to get the Korean workers to come back. Now, as an American, if you're American watching this, I want you to just put yourselves in the shoes of the Koreans, or put yourself in the shoes of Australians or Canadians or French or German, whoever, right? Put yourself in the shoes of another country. And the American rep, Brian Kemp, comes, he's like, I like guns, I like trucks, right? I'm gonna blow up regulations. Come work for us. How well do you think that goes overseas? And this is something that you just, when I show you guys this stuff, I want you to put yourself in the shoes of other people. If you want to be good at any kind of business relationship, any kind of international relations, understand how you're perceived abroad. And I'm just telling you, and I'm American, when I watch this guy, I was like, this guy's an idiot. But to, people overseas, it's like even bigger idiot, because the whole thing of this, truck, gun culture, blowing stuff up is really bizarre. And also I want to put it in perspective of, like, just imagine you're American sitting at home, and just imagine that you watched a politician in another country, let's call it Saddam Hussein, whoever, and they're like, I got guns, yeah, right? Just imagine how that would be portrayed in American media, again, if another country's leader was like waving guns around. So I can't stress this enough that these people are total buffoons, but I get it. They're popular in the USA because people like that stuff, I guess, but that's who it is. So I'm curious how that's going to play out. If you want to hear some Korean point of view, this is their comments, again, from Korean regular people. They say, ha ha ha, isn't it true that the governor also cooperated? How can you pretend not to know now? And that's been going on, among Korean circles of, like, why was the governor silent during this whole ICE raid? Well, maybe he was part of it, right? That's been the discussion. Here's some more. Don't come unless you're going to apologize publicly. Now, if you understand anything about Korea, but it's not just Korea, we'll say many cultures in Asia, public apologies, right? Saving face, this kind of stuff, the idea of shame is really, really important. And so if Kemp comes, doesn't show any sort of remorse, any sort of shame, I'm telling you guys, it won't be popular in Korea. And this is what Koreans are talking about. Give us an apology, right? What else do people say? Don't come, you say. This is, quote, due process. Don't come, resign, right? So, again, a negative reaction to that. Here's another person. Well, why are you coming here when the governor authorized the arrest? You're a Trump Republican. And it's also good to note that people in Korea know there's a difference between Democrats and Republicans. and under Republicans, if, like, the Republicans are arresting your fellow people.
Wow. I don't want to do too much of that, but let's go.
Even the mighty might not see it coming. It's pre-diabetes, and it captures 1 in 3 adults.
Shout out to Eugene.
Okay, I'm gonna lay out what the fuck is happening right now, because the cognitive dissonance is insane. Before I start this might be a little bit longer, so I get the 2x. But I grew up in the white evangelical church, finally fucking left, but was a worship leader, was a youth leader at one point, and I can tell you exactly why shit is going down the way it is. 2 separate realities are happening right now. There's one reality where those of us with critical thinking, understanding of how systems work, racism, bigotry, all that shit, that's the reality that we're rooted in. That's what's actually happening. The other reality that has been created for white evangelical Christians is what they're stuck in. So as a Christian, you learn about the Old Testament, the New Testament. In the Old Testament, God was violent as fuck, but it gets normalized in a way to you because it was a justified violence. That, we're taking cities for God. These cities were evil, so kill every man, woman, and child. Like, that shit's actually in the Old Testament. Then you fast forward to the New Testament, and you have this idea of Jesus, right? Living the perfect life. The Bible talks about there's no greater sacrifice than laying your life down for your fellow man. Put a pin in that. All throughout the Bible, and reinforced in Scripture, they talk about how imperfect people are used to spread the gospel of Christ. So that's why people like Trump, like Charlie Kirk, their words and actions don't fucking matter to white evangelical Christians as long as it's presented as the bigger picture under the umbrella of white evangelical Christianity, white supremacy, white nationalism. And so simultaneously, the Bible also victimizes Christians. You will be hated for standing up for Christ, right? Talk about that in the New Testament. And you can see this all throughout history, the way the Bible has been used to justify some of the most heinous shit in this country, specifically in America, because it's always within the white people's perception of the greater good. Really, is just colonial violence towards fucking everybody. But when you as a white person, as a white evangelical Christian, can be both the leader of moral and ethical truth and simultaneously be the victim of anybody that doesn't believe like you do, and package it under this idea of unconditional love while simultaneously telling people they'll go to hell if they don't believe the same thing you do, you create a narcissistic cycle, right? So then I can, as a white evangelical Christian, get away with any bullshit as long as I ask for forgiveness. And the greatest sin, unforgivable sin, is denouncing Christ, right? Everything else, 10 Commandments, you know, they don't really give a fuck about that. They want to put it up in school, but you see white evangelical Christians, white supremacists carry out violence all the fucking time, but it's justified. Because I can't see other people as human in their full humanity if they do not align with what I stand on, with my beliefs. The Bible talks about there's only one way into heaven, and that's through Jesus Christ. And so when we have people, again, like Donald Trump and Charlie Kirk, if they are preaching this or throwing this shit out there, sticking it to the wall, Christians are going to eat that shit up. And then it clicks in their brain that these men, now mind you, in a Christianity, it goes Jesus, men, everybody else underneath. So when you have these white evangelical men perpetuating these narratives, perpetuating this bigotry, it reinforces their beliefs, reinforces their victimization, reinforces that they will be oppressed because they're standing up for morality and ethics. So it feeds into the cycle of white supremacy, right? There's only one right way. Worship the written word, the Bible. Like the list, you can tie it all together in the list of the core tenets of white supremacy. And so they operate in this different reality that they have created for themselves, where they can carry out and speak out any type of violence, support it, repent for it, move on with their lives, while simultaneously be the victim if anyone holds them accountable for the fucked up shit that they do. And if you are trapped inside the cult of white evangelical Christianity, they make it feel like every single thing that is not the same as you is a threat to your existence. So again, going back to the New Testament where it talks about, the greatest sacrifice a man can do is lay his life down for his fellow people. You have now martyred, like Charlie Kirk. Doesn't matter how fucking racist, sexist, homophobic, xenophobic, ageist, the list goes on, if he was still standing for truth or pushing the gospel of Christ, then it's okay to them because God uses imperfect people. And so when the communities that have been actively harmed by the rhetoric and narratives that come out of the far right say, hey, that shit is hurtful to us. This creates violence towards us, and we don't appreciate it. Even if that's all that's said, then all of a sudden, white evangelical Christians look at that and they equate it to hate for the way that they navigate life. That's why they are overreacting, because they will hold humanity only for white people, and truly only for white evangelical Christian men. And so when something happens to a godlike figure, they view it as an attack on their entire identity. And when you have an identity that is strictly based in hatred and bigotry, knowing you could lose your life, will literally turn white people fucking feral. And that's what what's happening right now. They can't see humanity and all these other, that's why we lay all this shit out with all the other atrocities, Palestine, Congo, Sudan, black indigenous people of color being violently hurt by the government, like the lid, dude, it's so long, but it doesn't apply to them. But now the one person that looks like them, that push all their fucking harmful narratives that they could hide behind, is gone. The mask is gone. And when they chose to openly mourn this man, they unintentionally told everybody that they are also fucking white supremacists. And so a lot of white people are fighting themselves in the fucking mirror right now. And they cannot stand to look at ourselves as a collective in the face.
Hello brothers and sisters, welcome to the channel. There's an important message that I want to share with you today. In this video you're going to see a group of white people who are going to expose what we call the forbidden truth. Majority of Western world is based on morality, but we question the Western morality, we question the white morality, the white purity, right? Because in the face of everything they are always right. But at the end of the day, when black people come out and talk about all these issues, we might not have the real glimpse of what is really happening there. But when we have white people that are tired of the madness, or that are tired of the insanity that is going on in their community, they'll come out and speak about everything that you're seeing today. Brothers and sisters, I'm inviting you to watch this video. It is really, really important that you get to watch this video and listen how they expose, how they are tired with everything that is happening in their community. Sometimes when we black people come and talk about this, they say that we are perpetuating division, we are perpetuating racism. But now this is from their own members of the community. So I want to understand and I want to prove to you that these are the things that happens in these communities. And as per what's going on last week, you had the death of Charlie Kirk, and everything has been going on crazy. And as time goes on, you see how they themselves, they are used to perpetuate all this chaos, perpetuate all this racism that is going on. But that's not just that. There's so much craziness that is happening in the white community that needs to be exposed. And so brothers and sisters, I want us to watch this video. I'll be back and then I'll be sharing my thoughts in regards to this. For those who are watching me for the first time, I'm asking you to please subscribe to the channel, join the membership, and really get to see what I can offer you. For those who are always coming back and subscribing, liking, sharing, and supporting me through my channel, man, I'm really, really grateful. And if you wish to buy me a coffee, if only you can buy me a coffee through my Cash App account. I'll be really, really grateful for the support that you give me. And for those who are sending me super thanks, those who are subscribing, liking, sharing, those who are supporting me by buying me a coffee, I'm really, really grateful for the support that you're giving me. I don't take it for granted. And so I don't want to say much, but I want to let the video play so that we can continue watching the video. I'll be back with my commentary as usual.
So now all of a sudden, for so many people that beg for civil war, that have their community based on the internet, they're going to be cut off from that community anyway. So you have people that are going to drop from not having the medicine they need. You're going to have all your creature comforts gone. And now what are you left with? You're left with the hope. The hope that you might be able to survive a fight against your fellow Americans. Because why? You didn't like their view on transgenders. Or because you didn't like that Cracker Barrel changed its name, or changed its signage. You don't like the fact that, I don't know, all these different things you don't agree with. Maybe the tax rates are too high, maybe they're too low. All of that pales in comparison to the discomfort and pure horror of what a civil war would bring. And guess what? At the end of all of it, let's even say your side wins. Well, what are you going to get? Well, the rest of your life is going to be spent trying to rebuild what you had before the civil war you incited came.
So something interesting about white culture came out in a discussion I was having with my friends the other day. So the first thing to know is amongst my group of friends, I'm kind of the token white guy. I'm friends with a lot of people of color here in Brooklyn. And reflecting on my experience in the conversation, I just made this point, which is that there is really no such thing as white community. Like growing up in Metro Detroit, there was a black community, there was an Indian community, there was an Asian community, but there was no white community. There were white communities, like there were different groups groups of white people who predominantly got together in their own communities, like country clubs or churches or something. But there was no sense of like racial community to white people generally. This is really interesting because I had a lot of ethnic friends like Indian and Asian who had their own communities of people who would give each other opportunities and help each other out. And they had to because there were institutional factors that were probably preventing them from being as successful as they normally otherwise would have been. I'm just curious if other white people have noticed this because I've never felt like I've had a group of people I can go to who will help me solve my problems. It feels like you're all on your own.
You want to know why white people hate every single culture? It's for many reasons. It's not just because of one reason. And one of them is most cultures, like the Hispanics, the indigenous people, the Asians, they don't need money to be happy. Where white people need money to be happy all the time. White people don't like other cultures because it shows the shame inside them that they never really created anything in this world other than trauma and drama. Drama. Because every culture, the Asians, the Hispanics, the indigenous people, all done something to make this world what it is today. Not really whites. I mean, look at the cars we have now in America. White people cars, they got the blueprint from the indigenous people and they got rid of them, so now we got all the cars now that all look the same now. There's this, it's all generic white people shit. It's like I have a Jeep right now. And I could easily get a Kia and it's cheaper and it looks better than the Jeep. Like, they all look the same. That's why I think it's hilarious how people want to get, like, Range Rovers and all this other bullshit just to look cool outside. And it's just like, all the fucking cars look the same. Because white people, it's literally white people written all over it. Let's make all the cars look the same because we got the blueprint now. Anyone's going to buy it now, which is true. Everyone keeps buying these bullshit cars. By the way, the indigenous people made 10 times better because otherwise we'd be driving box cars with no blinkers on them. The Asian community amped up even more, so it's just like, what have white people ever do? And that's why they hate other cultures, because they know deep down they just never did anything. The other cultures come over here and they strut and they do better than them. That's why they want to deport them all the time. Because they have that shame of being useless and worthless. About the Asians, about the indigenous people, about the Hispanics, it'd be looking like the Family Odd Parents. Everything looks gray. I mean, it already kind of looks like that. I mean, look at like McDonald's now. It's all gray. There's no color to it anymore. Everything's fucking gray. We're living in the Family Odd Parents of the gray. Everything's gray. Everyone's just the same, looks the same. Yeah, it's white people culture type shit. It's just generic. So it's a lot of things that why they don't like other cultures. Because our cultures don't need wealth to be happy. Most cultures created most of everything in this world. That's why the world's running the way it is today. This is what white people just did. Money, buy, sell. That's it. Nothing unique about white people. And I'm white. And I can admit it. That's why they have no true friendships, the white community. That's why they have the hierarchy. And they always like to stab each other. I mean, every culture does it, but it's mostly the white people. Because they created this. They want to be a superior. They think they're alpha. Or something. Whatever the fucking label they love to give themselves. And a lot of people don't fall for their shit knowing that they're not all alpha or this or that. They're just human being that thinks money and status is the way to go. So they don't have true friendships. It's always talking shit about each other. Even the females, they're always doing something behind each other's backs. I mean, in my opinion, I think that mostly the lonely epidemic it's in the white community more than any other culture. That's just my opinion. You mostly see white people talk about it more than anybody else. So, just saying, white people have culture or community.
This is Window Nation.
Well, I'm gonna leave it at that. And you know, this is a lot of telling, not a lot of being revealed. You know, it's easy to shift the blame on somebody, but it's when you don't take accountability and see that it's in your own backyard. And it's and what this gentleman just says, you know, it's the truth. You know, if someone else point this out, like the man said, it would be you pressing a race card and things like that. So I'll let them do all the talking, and the people who are white that come across my channel and see this, like his channel as well, you see it for yourself. What's really going on, and the people that don't know, you know, that there's some other people that look like you, that this how they feel. You know, they revealing it. They're coming off the code, and I know it's probably shocking a lot of people when they see something like this. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and shout out to his channel and the other channel. But yet, you know, look what happened with the before I go, look what happened to how they treat the South Koreans. $350 billion investment gone just like that, because of you know, that mindset of Brian Kemp and many of the people, and that mindset of that woman that called the ice on those engineers. It made life miserable. It made people like that make life miserable, and then it puts America in the negative light. I'm going to show you tomorrow what's happening to America. That is, it's starting. No, that other people don't want to come here because of this hardy, nasty attitude that some people carry, and especially in the Trump administration. They don't want to come here no more. It used to be a time America was the place. Now it's like no, and it's hitting our industries. I mean, people might act like they care, but it's gonna affect you, because it's gonna affect the way the economy is, and things is not gonna go the way it was. But when Trump, you know, Trump's America, the way his own mind said it with his administration, this is why we're in the condition that we're in. Alright then, take care, be blessed. See you on the next video.